Funny.
Call all your monsters and magic resistant sunblock, all my fellow and future outlaws, as this is Cards Games vs. Humanity, and I am that Anna Double G. Here with your third episode of that Saturday morning recap that you all miss so dearly. Damn, I'm just spoiling you guys, aren't I? So as per usual, don't forget that sub and that bell, that like, support the channel below, even $1 a month helps if you're feeling it. And leave a comment telling me if you remember the first 10 minutes and 31 seconds of this episode was all about a 5-minute time chase card scene. An episode that literally begins with my walking away from the dueling arena in the last episode, a level of immersion I'm just not used to in this show. Everyone celebrates Yugi's victory, even Pegasus, who creepily decides to do so by clapping for about 15 seconds.
What a creep!
I know, I just said that. Now that the duel of Yugi is finished, it's time for our underdog to take on the reigning Intercontinental Champion. And because Tristan is such a good friend, he makes sure to remind Joey that this man makes his living by never getting enough TV time to actually defend his title.
Yugi. What? Oh.
What happened to his face? Where's his face? Joey tells Yugi that if he wins his duel, they'll have to go against one another in the finals. That no matter what, they'll be best friends till the end. That no matter what, may the best man win. No matter what. I don't know where that came from. Naturally, that slimy bastard Bandit Keith is already fast asleep on the couch waiting for Joey to arrive for their epic duel. He greets Mr. Wheeler by saying the same thing I do to anyone under the age of 10 that challenges me to Smash Brothers.
The pummeling will commence as soon as I'm good and ready.
Troke's voice asks both of these players to reveal their entry card. Bandit Keith has Joey's, his own. But unfortunately for Joey, he doesn't seem to have the card that Bandit Keith stole, and seems to be freaking out. It's not like it's a big deal or anything though. It's not like we made this tournament designed with strict parameters so that it could fail in the last 5 minutes. It's not like he would only have those 5 minutes to have to search the entire castle for that one thing he needs to be able to enter for that $3 million prize money. It's not like that would be the case or anything. It's not like that's the only thing separating from him and being able to save his sister. That definitely shouldn't need a $3 million operation because nothing costs that much. I'm sure he can manage it. Joey destroys this room that I'm pretty sure wasn't even his as Bandit Keith teleports to the other side of the dueling arena, mostly just to talk shit about Joey, claiming that he lost his card on purpose because he was just too scared to face a man like him in a children's card game. About 4 minutes pass in what seems about 90 seconds as Joey seems to have searched the entire castle.
Must have searched the whole castle.
I know, I just said that. But don't worry, despite taking way longer than a minute at this point, our blubbering hero is saved when Mai appears to offer him a handkerchief, the most disgusting of all ways to blow your nose.
Sounded like a bad soap opera, to be honest, but then who doesn't love a bad soap opera?
I'd make fun of that, but as a man who's been watching the male soap opera known as wrestling for about 30 years, all I can say is I'm inspired by those bold and beautiful people. Joey thanks his future lover, but not for another 2 years, because technically he's only 16 at this point in the story, for the card to enter the tournament. So instead he asks if they're friends instead of going to the duel that he's definitely already late for. Bursting into the dueling arena with the most epic entrance of all time, half of this episode has finally been taken up by this minor subplot. Gotta love it. Bandit Keith is shocked to see that he has his card. I'm just shocked to see that they actually gave the 5 minutes of Frieza and Namek a run for its money. Joey Wheeler, a man of honor, a man who will do anything for his friends, a man who really might need to be put on a list.
I'll warm you up. Ed, where you at?
Unless you're talking about an Arctic snowsuit, there is no context in which that is an acceptable statement. Keith calls Joey a punk and begins the duel by setting one face-down monster in defense position, and Joey counters by yes, setting one face-down monster in defense position. It's not really apparent if Keith uses his one free allotted turn skip here, but he just quickly flips up his pendulum machine into attack mode, quickly destroying Joey's battle warrior. Now that Joey knows exactly what kind of monster Keith has out on the field, our Brooklyn Brawler counters with Guilty of the Night, another fusion monster that he manages to summon normally. A well-trained knight with a spear that uses magic attacks, but oops, wait, those have no effect on machines in this duel and this duel only, so that's just not gonna work for you. We're then treated to our first piece of evidence that Bakura is secretly a time-traveling younger version of Dr. Emmett Brown.
Great Scott, it's not!
Crazy white hair, hilariously thick accent, a huge desire to go back in time and rewrite history. I'm onto you, bitch. Bandit follows up on Joey's lack of knowledge of how he's going to cheat by summoning the most badass monster I've ever seen, the Launcher Spider, leaving Guilty of the Night in a pile of dust and inflicting 450 points of damage to our hero. How can Joey stand up to these machines, the gang wonders? The magic resistance and the high attack power on these monsters mean they're only good on head-on-head attacks, something that could be kind of applied to every monster in the game, besides the cheating. It's Joey's turn and he places the monster in face-down defense mode, which according to Keith is not fighting like a man despite being his first opening move of the duel. Unfortunately, he's a bit of a butterfingers and drops one of his cards on the dueling computer.
Fence! Whoa. Just forget what you saw.
Do you realize how many times I would do this if dueling arenas were an actual thing? I would lose a third of my duels, just because I dropped a card I didn't want my opponent to see and it just started materializing. Joey sees that the monster was Zoa, a 2600 attack point monster that he says he can take out easily with Flame Swordsman and Salamandra, even though that's only 2500 attack points. But Bandit Keith responds anyways by flipping up the Magic Metal Force Metal Morph Magic Force, which increases its attack and defense points by 400, even though it was technically in defense mode when it was attacked, so it would have died anyway. So apparently Keith would have had to either skip his turn and switch it to attack mode, or he just ignored the rules completely and didn't care. It's just like, we're in the finals. I just want to know Just like this much of the rule, just this much. It's Keith's turn again, apparently, and I'm just gonna accept it at this point, as he uses stop defense to change Joey's activator into attack mode, leaving him wide open for a game-ending swing. Luckily for Joey, the dueling arena is much like America's infrastructure, as Zoa trips into this giant pothole that was never filled in the middle of the arena. The monster is destroyed instantly and ends up inflicting 750 points of damage to Keith in the process. Keith should have known better that as an American, when you duel on the streets, there's always that chance that your monster just goes. Tristan Taylor then commits serious copyright infringement.
All right, go, Joe, go! G.I. Joe!
Joey continues this confidence by laying a face-down card in the back row, saying that it's a trap card, so you better not attack. But Bandit Keith, unfortunately, has had a very rough life, unable to trust anyone, so naturally he assumes this must be a bluff and takes the attack anyways. What he didn't expect is that Joey has maybe 3 to 4 trap cards in his deck, so when he sets a back row, you better fucking believe it's actually one. Activating the kunai chain, laying waste to the launcher spider with Garuzis, another basic weird lizard monster with an axe.
If you keep this up, you'll be dueling Pegasus in no time!
Tristan, bro, Yugi's standing right there. Like, why would you even say that? The episode ends with Bandit Keith saying that his trap cards will not last him forever. They will run out. And like a true American, promises to respond to this problem like all other problems, with bigger and bigger machines with bigger and bigger weapons. Well, that's it for this week's episode. I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget that sub and that bell, hit that like, and leave a comment telling me if you think about 50% of what Tristan said in this episode made absolutely no sense. Tune in next week where we get the thrilling conclusion of this battle between 2 angry men with blonde hair. And for once, I don't mean Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. And of course, I shout out to all my patrons. If you find yourself suddenly without a face, you should probably seek medical attention right away. Or at least go underwater and see if you can breathe underwater, see if you gain that ability as well. I'd like to know that. This has been the man from Earth with all the girls, ladies and gentlemen. 3 episodes this week. Not too bad. See y'all on Monday. Later. Now that the duel of Yugi is finished, it's time for our Croquet's voice asks both players to reveal their sandpaper. Joey Wheeler, a man of honor, a man who will do anything as friends. Anything as friends. Now that Joey knows what kind of monster Keith has out. Now that Joey can. Jinzo. We're then treated to our first bit of how can Joey stand up to the machines? How can Joey stand up to these? How can Jesus Christ?